When was the last time you were so deeply engrossed in something that you completely lost track of time? I felt that at the age of 6 when I was first introduced to squash. Squash was my hobby, which somewhere down the road turned into my passion, and today it's my profession. Well, it's a great feeling to make a living out of your profession, to do something that you love, and to get paid for it. But I do believe, along with global warming and natural resource depletion, following our passion and turning it into a profession is another major challenge our world faces today. How many of us actually do what we love for a living? Well, let me give you an example of 4 of my closest friends. One of them is an investment analyst at a very famous bank in New York, but is extremely passionate about joining the Indian Army. The other wants to be a DJ, but is busy doing his family business. My third friend, she wants to be a fashion designer, but she's working in an event management firm. She actually chose this for me, and she thought I should wear pink. She said it will make a statement. I'm not quite sure what statement this is making, but and my fourth friend, he actually does not know what he wants to do in life. So he does absolutely nothing. Yeah, I mean, if I want to know what shows to watch on Netflix or something, he's the go-to guy. But every night I hear them complain about how boring their lives are, complain about how boring their jobs are, and they wish they could live their dreams, follow their passions. But every morning they wake up and go back to the same jobs, and life goes on. Well, I can relate with them. Not long back, I was in a very similar situation. For a couple of years, I worked in finance in New York. I graduated with a BA in statistics, and like most of my other college friends, found myself what we call a real job. Yeah, sit at the desk for 8 hours a day, and you get paid for it. But my heart always wanted to follow my dreams. I wanted to explore the world of professional squash. But my mind wasn't willing to accept the risks and uncertainties that come along with it. Well, sport is a very risky profession. You don't have a second chance. As a financial analyst, or an engineer, or a teacher, you get fired from one job. Hopefully no one does, but if you do, you find another one, and life goes on. As an athlete, you either make it or you don't make it. You either win or you lose, you survive or you die. There's minimal margin of error, and the risk is humongous. So, to be honest, I was afraid. Yeah, I just couldn't take the risk. What if I failed? What will my parents say? What will my friends say? I just had to move on. So instead, I decided I would spend the next 2 years of my life wrapping my head around the really complicated finance terms. Yeah, these finance guys like making things very complicated. You know, like risk is called beta, risk-adjusted returns, beta-adjusted returns. Yeah, they complicate things to just pretend smart. And so the next 2 years, the office felt like my squash court, and my boss felt like my opponent. Yeah, there's one thing very similar between opponents and bosses. Both make you work harder than they do. And it was fun. I had a fun experience. I learned a lot, actually, the 2 years I spent in finance. But more than the finance I picked up, I learned a lot about myself. I realized that winning a squash match gave me way more happiness than double-digit returns. Losing felt way worse than a bad investment choice. And skipping a day of work didn't feel as bad as missing a practice session. I missed the energy squash brought to my life. I missed the passion, I missed the adrenaline rush, I missed the excitement, the butterflies before a big event. I missed all of that. I missed once that was my life. And eventually I jumped back into the world of professional squash. Yeah, it sounds easy when I say it now, but trust me, it took months and months of thinking, convincing myself, convincing my parents to actually go ahead and do that. Well, what I realized was I didn't want to live my life with a regret of having never tried what I actually love. And unless you try something, you're never going to know how good or how bad you're going to be at it. So for me, it was important to give myself that shot. And along the way, I've realized that just the joy of following your passion in itself makes it worth the risk. Towards the end of my time in finance, I kind of started relating life to the stock market. If you really want high returns, you've got to take those high risks. Well, to jump back into the world of professional sport wasn't really easy. Sport is a brutal profession. Hours and hours of practice, intense gym sessions, limited social life, and a restricted diet. There are some days I woke up and my legs were so sore that even getting out of bed felt like a challenge. Apart from the physical torture, it's the emotional ups and downs that you face. Sport has the power to make you feel like a superstar one day, and the very next day you could feel like a nobody. You fail more often than not, and every now and then you have those I quit moments. But I still wake up every morning and go back to the harsh world of sport. Why? The answer is very simple. Passion backed by purpose. In other words, motivation. Different people have different ways to find their motivation. But for me, the answer is very simple. It's the answer to a question I ask myself every morning. Why am I doing this? And that ends up becoming my motivation for the day. In life, when your passion turns into purpose, the mind always finds a way to face the challenges and hardships that come along with it. Work does not feel like work anymore. It feels like play. So throughout my life, I've been told what I can't do. You can't do this, you can't achieve that, that's impossible. It's actually human nature to tell you what you can't do instead of emphasizing on what you can. So I was in school, and the week before my board exams, I was called upon to captain the Indian junior team at the Asian Championships. My teachers told me not to do it. They said, you're probably going to fail your exams. Well, I moved on in life. I went to college, and I was told it's impossible to balance a high level of sport with academics. And today people tell me, don't pursue your career in squash. It's way too risky. Well, I did all right in my boards. I finished top 10 in my school, and we ended up winning the Asian Championships. It was the first time in the history of Indian squash that we actually lifted that title, and I was delighted to be a part of history. But had I listened to those teachers back then, I would probably just be studying history for the exams and not really creating it. In college, I managed to balance both sport and academics. Yes, it was hard, it was challenging, some all-nighters in the library, some sleepless nights, but I got through. I actually received an award for the best student athlete at Columbia. And I'm very proud of that. But had I listened to those people who told me it was impossible, I would just stop at student. I would never be a student athlete. And today, I'm ranked number 2 in India. I'm an Asian Games medalist. And had I not taken the risk, I would probably be sitting in an office somewhere, still crunching some numbers. But here I am, sharing my life story with you. So for all those who are suffering from dogma, which basically is living your life based on the opinions and thoughts of others, let me tell you, when you actually believe, when you sincerely believe in something, those who mind won't matter. And those who matter won't mind, because they'll know what that means to you. Well, I'm not here to tell you that just follow your dreams and you're going to make it in life. You'll be mistaken if you think your dream is going to take a flight without you having to madly flap at those wings. But if you do, with hard work, with trust in your dream, and with passion, achieving the impossible is possible. And if I can do it, certainly you can. So believe in yourself, follow your dreams, and do whatever you do with an insane passion. because that's the way to success. Thank you so much.